It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the world, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. From the Could We Tip Over Guam update.
Yeah.
This was said. This is mind-boggling. It's like Democrats are completely lost. This is Congressman Eric Sorensen, I guess from the Rockford, Illinois area.
All right.
Where I used to work when I worked at WROK. I believe that's the district around Rockford. I know he's from Rockford. But you want to hear what he had to say on the border, securing the border?
Sure.
Listen to this.
The economy of the United States would end in 3 days. We have 3 days of what we need in the United States. So if we just shut down the entire southern border, it would be to the detriment of our own country.
The hell's he talking about?
I don't know.
What in the hell is he talking about?
We only have 3 days. It's only 3 days. 3 days of what? What? I'm sorry, what?
He's been in office since, I think, just 23. Illinois, you voted in an idiot. What the hell's he talking about?
We only have 3 days. Everybody would die in 3 days.
When they say close the border, they mean from illegal immigrants. We're not stopping trade, you idiot!
We only have 3 days. It's 3 days. That's it.
They're losing it. And that's what I meant when I was reading the article from Politico. Again, what I love is it's like there's a freak out. Democrats are freaking out. Everybody's freaking out. Mm-hmm. But the Democrats really aren't freaking out because they say we weren't really depending on the lawfare. We weren't really dependent. We've got Trump dead to rights on things like abortion and the end of democracy. And it's like, guys, you've tried all that. You're still down in the polls.
Yeah.
It's inflation. It's the border. It's total incompetence and lying about foreign relations.
Well,
it's about anti-Semitism. It's about the administration being pro-terrorist. Mm-hmm. These are the problems that the party has, and if they don't address the problems, if they can't coherently tell the American public, well, they really can't, because what they believe the American public has rejected. But if they can't acknowledge what their problems are, they're never going to find a solution. And I said this starting in 2018. One of these days, when your whole policy is to separate people, divide people, and make their lives harder, eventually people are going to stand up and recognize it. It's taken a lot longer than I thought. Democrats believe that Democrat voters are idiots, and there may be some credibility to Democratic politicians believing that because it's taken so long for voters to stop voting against their best self-interest.
Well, we've been saying for years, when you create a new victim and each person every day and a new reason for them to be a victim, that means that new subgroup that they belong to then has new oppressors. And you can't bring people together like you need them to be together. What's the one thing, if the ones that are together in the Democratic Party, what is the one thing they share? It's their hatred for Trump. I mean, there are a number of things that, in terms of viewpoints, but what drives the election? What brings them together on the election?
Democratic Party is very easy. We told you why people will vote for the Republicans and Trump, why people won't vote for the Democrats. The problem that you have that you will not address inflation, and they won't.
Nope.
Where is it here? Somebody had it in National Review. It was just perfect. It was the headline. Oh man, was on economic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll have to look for it later on because it's it's somewhere in here.
Somewhere in the pile.
Oh my gosh, there it is. Nora Rothman, National Review. Democrats will blame America if Biden loses. That's what they're doing right now.
Well, it's what they did.
They're doing.
When was it the Virginia election, governor's election? That night, when they basically said, "Well, the problem is we're not radical enough. The problem is people don't understand." They've been saying that about the economy. We don't know why people are too stupid to see that it's a great economy.
Yeah. They're ignoring inflation. They ignored the border. Remember, how long did they say the border's secure?
Right.
How long did they say the border is secure?
Mm-hmm. Right. And now Biden is saying, I can't do anything about it. I can't do anything. Congress. Yeah. Right. And they don't learn. They're not going to learn, apparently.
I saw, what was it, Illinois passed, almost $1 billion in new tax increases?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Speaking of Illinois, but I mean, that entire thing there, that if Republicans say they want to close the border, we can't last 3 days if we close. We're talking illegal immigrants, not trade.
Right.
Do you know one Republican that has said we need to stop trade?
No. We only have 3 days. That person's been hanging around Keith Olbermann too long.
What an idiot. But I mean, on economic things, and you made the great point that Democrats are still talking abstract and reality is hit.
And you can't do that with the economy. The current economy. Well, you can't, and they do. They're trying to make it, and I don't know. It's almost like they're attempting some weird Jedi mind trick.
Well, the Wall Street Journal had it. Talk about, again, Democrats for years have said you can keep raising the minimum wage, and it only helps. Right? That's what the Democrats say. And
right.
if we say, well, no, if you raise the cost without raising the productivity, somebody has to pay that cost.
Mm-hmm.
And if you pay that cost, it means you're going to damage the economy. Somebody has to pay it.
Right.
There is no free ride. And what we got from Democrats was, no. See, when you raise the minimum wage, those people who get the minimum wage will have more money to spend, therefore the economy will be better. Now, what are they ignoring? They're ignoring that somebody has to pay that cost of the minimum wage. They haven't completed the equation. So talk about abstract reality. Gavin Newsom backs off stupid $25 minimum wage health care law. As Wall Street Journal editorial pointed out yesterday, Newsom is only doing this because the state is now feeling the burden of the stupid law. They don't care if businesses do.
Right.
California has already pummeled the private businesses with the $20 minimum wage laws, which remain in place. But, as the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal wrote, the state's budget deficit has ballooned to $45 billion. Mr. Newsom projects that the new health care minimum wage would cost the state $4 billion more a year, owing to higher Medicaid costs and compensation for workers at state-owned facilities. Legislative analysis warned about these costs, but Mr. Newsom signed the law anyway. Mr. Newsom is proposing to the health worker minimum wage increases to the state's general fund and to exempt state facilities. But once capital gains revenue picks up again, California's private health care providers will be stuck paying for the wage mandates, which they will ultimately pass on to the patients. Far better to repeal the $25 minimum wage. But as we know, he's backing off. He doesn't want anything that's state-owned to have to pay the $25 minimum wage because they feel the hit in cost. That's the reality.
Right.
The abstract was the delusion that Democrats have played on increasing costs for years, that it has no effect. Oops, we did it to ourselves. It has an effect. Duh.
Yeah. There's no way it doesn't.
Said, so in Newsom's precious state has to pay the freight, a guaranteed minimum wage is not a good answer.
Yeah.
But when the private industry has to feel the burden, Newsom is okay with it. You keep that in place. You know, Democrats need and liberals need to shut up, which is exactly what Harvard said they're going to do. You saw that, right?
Yeah, right.
Harvard has adopted a new policy of not speaking out on public issues not directly related to the institution. The new policy was adopted after a working group of a select group of professors was convened in April to consider whether the university should expect to speak out on issues of public controversy. Yesterday, they decided no. We're going to keep our Jew hatred quiet.
Right.
We are going to keep our bigotry quiet. We're going to keep our racism quiet.
And to conceal our identity, we're going to wear white hoods over our heads.
Yes. That will be the Harvard
Seriously.
graduation
gown.
outfit.
That'll be the gown.
Outfit gown.
Yeah. Wow. Wonder if anybody's made that meme yet.
The new guidelines, as the Harvard Crimson observed, the new guidelines come just months after the former Harvard president resigned following fierce criticism over her initial statement after the Hamas October 7th attack on Israel, a scenario that the university hopes to never repeat with this new stance. We're not going to change our policy
we're not
on anti-Semitism.
Change anything. We're just not going to talk about it. There. Problem solved.
Right. We need to go underground.
Right, exactly.
Keep our radical beliefs quiet.
Right. We're going to form a secret society.
Talk amongst ourselves.
That's right. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. It's it does make you wonder though what the effect has been in terms of any donations, any money coming in.
Oh yeah.
And then of course enrollment.
Well, look, there is a radical left allow them to get away with it because they're going to force them to take stands.
Yeah.
Does this mean you say you're not going to talk about it? Are you going to take stands on these controversial issues? Because you have to promote it. If you're promoting DEI, if you got DEI, you got to promote it.
Yeah.
If you're taking a stance, the far left is going to want you to take a stance.
Yep.
You need to divest from Israel.
Yep.
You've got to make a decision,
right.
Which means you have to talk about it.
Yep. Well, I guess we'll see. Right? We'll see. I'm really anxious to find out how this affects enrollment. There's no way it doesn't affect donations, money coming in.
Well, it has already.
Yeah.
I just wonder what happens because they're not going to change their far left policies. They're not going to. You already see, we said this was going to happen a few years back, that you are the return on investment people are going to start looking at as college costs keep going up and up, and inflation has made them go up and up more, and the bureaucracy at these colleges, which swarm over the actual number of teachers that are there, are they going to fire all of them? Are they going to fire the bureaucrats? Are they still going to, if they are still going to hold far-left radical positions, will the far left not make them speak out on it?
I guess we'll see, right?
Yep. 866-90 Red Eye.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
Let's talk about dams.
Anytime I get to talk about dams is a good day for me.
James Denby is National Dam Safety Coordinator at USDA. He'll be talking a lot about dams this week, especially this Friday, the 31st, National Dam Safety Awareness Day. He says there are many misconceptions about dams, such as how many there are. Most of us would guess maybe a couple of thousand. Wrong.
The National Inventory of Dams has about 90,000 dams.
Now, you'd think most of these dams would be owned by the federal government. Wrong again.
Only 5% of those are owned by federal agencies. The majority of dams are privately owned.
But most people think the government is responsible for inspection and maintenance of those dams.
Primarily, the owner is responsible to make sure that their dam doesn't fail.
James says all dams need regular inspection and maintenance to check for deficiencies
before they become major issues.
Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90 Red Eye on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Okay, so a top prosecutor in Kentucky and the attorney for world number one golfer Scottie Scheffler will speak at a hearing in court today, 12 days after the PGA star was arrested while trying to drive around the scene of a fatal crash on his way to the PGA Championship in Kentucky. Jefferson County Attorney Michael Connell will address the court at 1 p.m., while his Scottie Scheffler's attorney, Steve Romines, will appear on behalf of Scheffler, who lives in Texas and has permission to miss the hearing that only recently appeared on the court docket. The spokesperson for the DA declined to comment on Wednesday's hearing is about. Scheffler's arraignment was pushed back to June 3rd. Romines on Tuesday reiterated to CNN that Scottie's position is the charges should be dismissed or that he will go to trial without a plea deal. A Louisville-based attorney wouldn't say whether a resolution has been reached or whether the charges will be dropped. He has scheduled a news conference for just 30 minutes after the court hearing begins. So I don't know where this is going. I don't know what evidence they have. All I know is, and you and I talked about and looked at the footage that we saw, unless the police officer was dragged beforehand. If that is totally inclusive of the incident, I don't see any crime.
Right.
I certainly don't see any felony.
And it would be understandable that a situation like that would be very confusing.
Absolutely. For both sides of it.
Right. And so I guess we'll see where it comes out. And again, that's if that video was showing us everything, unless there's something on video. I would think you had a couple of cameras at least rolling on that. I would think we would see something more if there was something more, but I don't know that to be a fact. So I guess we'll see.
observing and analyzing the insanity. Eric Harley and Gary McNamara, nightly on Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Hey, I'm trying. I can't find audio cuts without a ton of cursing in it with Robert De Niro yesterday.
Well.
I mean, that just blew up in their face. Just blew up.
Yeah, it went horrible.
Well, you know, one of the worst things is he's an actor and he's reading the script and then he, comes to the end of a sentence and has to flip it. It was quite, as you said, quite Biden-like.
That's that's the point I was making earlier is that he's lived his entire adult life by a script that somebody else wrote. And I'm guessing he wrote his script yesterday, but he had to use a script. And he was lost. It was just weird. It was horrible. If you're going to get a celebrity endorsement, do the opposite of that. Whatever that was.
Now he's part of the campaign. I mean, he's put together campaign ads.
Yeah, no, he's fully embedded. Yeah.
And you know what that says to the average person? You have the support of the Hollywood elite.
Yeah.
That doesn't move the needle.
And also the clueless, the support of the clueless. This thing that he's been doing for several years now, De Niro, on award shows and everything else, and everybody's like, yeah, okay, calm down. They don't see him as and I don't know if there is such a thing anymore as the cool celebrity endorsement. But back in the day, Obama had they had the Obama chant song.
Oh, man.
That was so bad. How many
Obama.
Oh, my gosh.
Obama.
How many people who are in their, let's say, early, mid-20s are aware of that? Know that song existed? Because it's weird. And I don't know. I think we've gone beyond that. I think, Dennis Quaid talking to Piers Morgan about voting for Donald Trump, while that clearly is an endorsement, he told you why. And does it mean millions of people are going to vote for Donald Trump because Dennis Quaid said he was? No. But he made solid points as to why he's going to do that. And that's not what happened yesterday with De Niro. De Niro must be upset, too, that he had to follow the Cookie Monster. That he wasn't the first choice. That it was months ago the Cookie Monster was invited to the White House to talk about shrinkflation and all of that. So I guess we know how the Cookie Monster
follows up on the Cookie Monster.
You're not even, you don't even get top billing. The Cookie Monster gets top billing. And so, look, I think we've all known the Cookie Monster is a liberal for a long, long time. That was no surprise. But I don't know who would be the celebrity endorsement for the left.
I found it.
Oh, you got the Obama chant song?
In case somebody hasn't heard it. Because
I don't know how many people in that age group that were, because they would have been in grade school back then when this came out.
Now this wasn't the pledge one.
No. That was different, but it was also weird.
Where the rap stars were saying that now that Obama's in president, who was the rap star that said that he didn't turn off his lights before, but now that Obama's president, he's going to turn off his light.
I think it was Diddy. I think P. Diddy.
Is it P. Diddy?
I think.
And then what's his name from Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Anthony Kiedis.
That he's
only going to
flush the toilet after
a deuce.
Yes.
Not the other.
Yeah. We're not making this up, folks.
Which is interesting. Had you asked me if any of the members of Red Hot Chili Peppers ever flushed the toilet, I would have said no. But not for that environmental reason. It would have been automatically no.
Yeah,
probably not.
Yeah, if you got the nickname Flea, you might not be the most hygienic person.
I'm just guessing they don't flush. I could be wrong about that. But I don't think the money and fame changed a thing on that.
Just in case, because people don't realize how ridiculous it's been. We live in the bubble of today, and we forget the idiocy that has existed in liberal circles. Here we go.
We can change the world. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na.
I would like to see a cleaner earth for my child that I'm bringing into the world very soon.
I think it's time for change. I want a better future for my children.
I would like our environment to be safe. Necesitamos respetar nuestro planeta.
Este es nuestro América. Mi América. Tu América. This is our America.
Mi América.
My America.
Tu América.
Your America.
La América de nosotros.
Oh.
Obama. Obama. Obama.
Obama. Now, here's the thing. Keep in mind, California had only legalized weed for 8 years at that point.
Well, now they'd simply change it to same kind of rhythm and pace, but it would be "We hate Jews, we hate Jews,
exactly.
We hate Jews."
It wouldn't be about love; it would be about hate.
Right. Now, change it from love to hate.
And,
right.
and in my mind, I was really trying not to do it because it's a weird thought, but instead of Obama, Joe Biden, they're not doing that, are they?
Nah.
You know, yesterday, and that's what really hit me about De Niro. He came off as Biden-esque. Not De Niro. Not the, I guess, I don't know, culmination of all of his characters he's played in movies over the years. He came off as Biden-esque because he's reading, he's distracted.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what he's saying. He doesn't know what he's trying to say, apparently. He'll never leave. He'll never leave. It's when you heard Dennis Quaid talking to Piers Morgan, he made it very clear why he's going to vote for Trump. It's about the Constitution. It's about lawfare. It's about, and he went on to, it's really doesn't have to be about liking the guy or anything else. It's about what is critical, and I think he would probably agree that we're at this crossroads where if we don't fix this now, we're not gonna. And that's something I've been saying for a while. And De Niro sounded lost, just completely lost and desperate. That was the other thing, too. The whining in his voice. That's not conviction.
But then, I mean, it was the same, though, over-the-top stuff where it's like, Trump's going to be a dictator, and he's not going to leave office. He's going to be a dictator. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, you're in freak-out mode.
Right.
By the way,
the Constitution won't allow that to happen. There's nothing Trump can do.
Politico, there you go.
Once he's done, he's done.
Freak-out mode right there.
Yeah, you're right. That's
freak-out.
That is freak-out mode.
That's freak-out mode.
And that's all they have. And so De Niro in freak-out mode is what they – but the problem is, just like the article from Politico Democrats will not admit what their problem is.
Nope.
Their problem is inflation, open borders, EV mandates, overspending, which gets to, that, and I'm using that for the interest on the debt that we're seeing right now, lying to the American public on wars that we are in, and the anti-Semitism that comes from this administration, the Jew hatred, the pro-terrorist opinion. That's the problems that they have. And as long as they're out there screaming, we've been there, done that about Trump being a dictator. Yeah. The public, and this is what I would tell them as a political consultant, the public has already digested that. Sending an old actor out to scream the same thing that people don't buy does not get you where you need to get to. The Democrats don't. We've talked about the Republicans at times not learning, but the Democrats have not learned. It's their identity politics. It's the misogyny of the radical transgender movement that they've mainstreamed. Identity politics. It's the racism. It's the race baiting.
Yep.
And they won't acknowledge what the American public sees as the problem with the Democrats. If you don't do that, you're going to run into trouble. It's that simple. By the way, new study out. This is something we've talked about a lot. The job-seeking website Ladders found that high-paying remote jobs fell nearly 60% over the last year.
Wow.
Hybrid job availability fell 95% over the past year.
Yep.
Plus, a survey by Resume Builder found that 90% of companies out of the 1,000 surveyed said they expect a full 5-day week return to the office by the end of this year. For those looking to make big money, $250,000 or more annually, now $250,000 a year ago would have been minimum wage. But now those looking to make $250,000 or more, only 4% of those jobs are available for remote work. A year ago, it was 10%.
Yeah, corporations, you see it, Walmart basically bringing their corporate employees, laying some off, and then the rest of them telling them, okay, here are the 3 locations total we're going to be in, and we're going to be in the office. I hadn't known, I guess I wasn't curious enough, or it just didn't make the news, whatever, that so many of their corporate jobs were still remote, since COVID. And I kind of thought that was really amazing, actually, that they were still letting them work remote and that it took this long. But that's over.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. By the way, we knew this was going to happen with jobs. We had talked about this as COVID was ending.
Yeah.
And it was like companies were saying, no, we see this remote thing. We can't back off on it just because of the labor situation. And we said they're going to have to. Now with AI coming in, and we always stated this, with companies right now because of inflation are looking for as much productivity as they possibly can get.
Yep.
And with AI out there, that means every employee they hire, they want to be more productive than those employees were before, especially with the technology that they can work with. And so they want them there.
I think there's that. I think also, with tech companies, with any company, really, there's a certain level of proprietary issues. And you don't think of Hillary and her unsecured server. You don't want somebody operating remotely, even though they've got the security down pretty well. they still don't want to have a greater risk out there with so many people working remotely. And so, but the creativity and also the synergy is much greater when everyone is under the same roof. And there are a few exceptions to that. And I just don't see how they're going to get back to, I don't think we'll ever get back to the whole remote working thing. It changes morale working remotely. A lot of people will say, no, I feel better working at home. Yeah, but that's because you're at home. It changes the morale when you can get everybody in there. Again, that synergy where everybody's working together, and then you accomplish something, and then, hopefully there's a reward at the end of that. So.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.